What's up, everybody? And today we're going over another update of Ukraine-Russia. We have been doing this a lot recently. There isn't as much news to cover on this video, but it has been a couple days, so I wanted to do one. Be hyped, because tomorrow we're going to try and cheer ourselves up a little bit and play some Halo. So if you want to check me playing Halo on Legendary, we're near the end. There will be a video for that up tomorrow. But before we get started, question of the day comes from Noah Jimenez, I think the name is. It says, question, what do you personally think are the basic necessities for a go bag or a bug out bag? Well, it really depends, right? Because the chances are, if you're living in a regular society, you don't need the survival means that you would in the military, right? We know that. It also depends on your environment, where you are, what the weather's like. So there's a lot of different things that are important. I think some of the majority of the things that would be in the bag no matter what is a water bottle, a knife of some sorts, clothing, waterproof clothing, change of socks is always nice, change of underwear, a means to communicate, and if you're getting really serious, a map. If you're getting really serious, rope, and if you're getting really serious, some water purification tablets and stuff like that. Maybe a poncho, some sort of bivvy that you can put up. But that's like if you're getting like military serious for a bug out bag. You know, you can look at all different types of knives, or a small axe is sometimes just as good or just as powerful. There are some little kits you can get with, with flint and steel and stuff like that. Don't necessarily know whether that's that important. I actually have a really cool Gerber knife. I don't know where it is. Steph, where's my knife? Oh, it's in the boot. I'm not going to go and get it. Anyway, it's a really cool knife, and it has a sharpening stone on it, and it has a flint to start fire, and it's all like within the sheath of the knife. It's really nice. If you're interested in seeing more stuff like that, let me know in the comments section down below. But thank you, Noah, for the question, and if you want your question answered, leave it in the comment section down below. Other than that, we're going to crack on with this, and like I said, tomorrow there will be some Halo, so get hyped for that. But for now, let's cover this news. It's important. There are some updates. I want to get started with the live map. I don't usually start with a live map. I usually start with the news on like the BBC website, but I think this is more important right now, because my predictions of what were going to happen with the live map are actually becoming true. And we've seen this. We've seen a few people talk about this, but I really want to talk about the northeast part of Kiev here. Look at all these spurs, especially this one here, right in the middle. Can I draw on this? Draw a polygon. Oh, I don't want to share. Cancel. I wonder if is there a way to draw on this? There must be a way I can draw on this, right? So this here is exactly what I predicted, right? They're going to start closing this in. Let's cancel that. They're going to start closing these in and slowly taking it. But what I wouldn't be surprised, with the amount of spurs they've got going here, I think it's a given that this area here has now been taken. That's all going to be taken there, right? Let me cancel that. This area next to it's taken, but I want to point out this bottom piece right here. I didn't expect them to keep going forward here. What I expected them to do is last time we looked, they had the spurs. They were kind of like this, and I expected them to go across here. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. But they're not. What they've done is they've come further out, and they're kind of breaking it up here, which makes me believe that they're going to try and take basically all of that in one go. Possibly even coming down here and taking all that in one go. And in turn, if they take that, what would happen is I feel like the quality of the zooms here aren't the best. But they're obviously trying to take Kiev. That's the most important, right? We've got all this, which is pretty much a guarantee for them now, right? All the way down to here, and they've taken all this. It wouldn't be surprising if this is kind of like the route they're going here, taking all this, all this, and then it all joins up. Eventually, these spurs will come across the center here. Not directly where that is. It's going to be more like this river here. So if I can draw this a little bit better. I'm not used to this tool. But basically, like... I don't know whether this is going to work. This way. Basically, yeah, I guess it does work to some extent. The map's going to look more like this, my prediction is. With like that. Can I move this point? No, I can't move that point. But these two sticky out parts, I didn't mean to do that. But you get the idea, right? That's kind of the and the rest are down here as well. That's kind of what I expect it to look like in the next coming week or two. I'm surprised they haven't pushed too much ground in the center here. But I honestly don't think they're as much worried about that than they are about the top part of Kiev. Can I refresh this and get rid of that mark? My plan is all these spurts here is key to them. It's key to take all of the northern part of Kiev. It wouldn't surprise me, and you can take my word for this, because this is probably what's going to happen, is you might start seeing some more spurts coming down this way. And then slowly, you know, a bit further down here. Like that. And then that way they'll take all of this area, and they'll basically have all this area done with. Kind of like that. That's what I'm expecting. Whether they'll achieve that, I don't know, but they really have pushed a lot of ground here. Let's see what this says. Russian fuel convoy ambushed and destroyed by Ukraine troops. Oh, my screen's just completely gone off. Oh, it's back on again now. What I would say is going in Ukraine's favor here is that... let me refresh this to get rid of it again. Get away. Is if they're really starting to push here, they could blockade some of this and really cut off some vital... If they take this area right now, Ukraine take that, then Russia are isolated unless they can push this across here and basically supply themselves. If they can do that. And that might be why they're pushing out a bit further than expected. But if Ukraine can take this area here, then they really are helping themselves from being basically flanked here. That's what they're trying to do. They're pushing from all directions to get to Kiev. But these spurts, classic military tactic. We've seen it plenty of times before. We've gone over this. We went over it in the task and purpose video. They said the exact same thing as me, is that these spurts are a way to flank around, circle around, choke an area, and then take over it ultimately. And they're doing surprisingly well, Russia are right now with that, which is scary, very scary, and very worrying. Let's have a look at some of these. This is probably more shelling. Correct, it's more shelling. What's this? Fire reported in the area of the mall. 13 dead, 5 rescued in Russian airstrike. They're really pushing down here as well. There is a small airport here, so that doesn't surprise me. What's going on here? Red alert, aerial threat. Yep. Center of Kiev right here, aerial threat. Ukraine armed forces report 2 Russian aircraft shot down. That's nice to see. This part here was the ambush, which it wouldn't surprise me if that's what they're trying to do with a tactic. But they need to be careful, because if they do get circled here, they're going to get taken anyway. But look at all these really small airports. There's a lot of very small... They may be private, they may be public airports. Very, very small. Compared to on this side... basically the northwest side of Kiev, there's very few and far between. Down here in the south, there's a lot, but they ain't get any chance of getting that anytime soon. Doesn't surprise me that they've really tried to push this area to take all these airports and to basically choke the city of Kiev. My guess is Kiev are getting most of their supplies from this southern west part right here. Wouldn't surprise me at all. This is more aerial threats. Let's take a look on this east coast right here. We're getting a lot of firing going on in this city down here. More aerial threats, more dead. More dead. 3 civvies. Unbelievable. Explosions. I apologize. You might hear a bit of rain in the background. It's starting to rain where I am right now. Basically more of the same, but I wanted to come onto this map and just talk about them spurts because they are happening a lot. Keep an eye out on these, especially when you start to see these connect. then we're going to be in trouble. This whole area, see this massive area right here, right? This giant area right here that's already, for the most part, a lot of it's been taken, but to here, as soon as this tiny little bit here connects, boom, gone. That whole point there, apart from this little part here, that whole part there is choked. Completely choked. They need to be very, very concerned about them closing in right there. It wouldn't surprise me if that's why it looks like there's been shelling here to prevent any Ukraine forces from getting in here and basically preventing them from choking it off, because that is a very dangerous momentum they've got there. And it looks like they're on schedule of what they said about taking over Ukraine, which is very disheartening. Let's move over to the summaries that we've been getting on the BBC website. Again, I've checked multiple different sources. This is the best place I've seen for the most consistent reports that I've seen across the board, no matter what political spectrum, part of the political spectrum you're on. So let's read these summaries and we'll go over it. Russian shelling is still preventing the evacuation of civilians from besieged cities, Ukraine says, which is ironic because, again, Putin put out a statement that the shelling was a way to push civilians out of the area, and yet he's preventing them from doing it. So, again, Putin going back on his word, no surprise there. He's been doing that constantly. You can't really take anything that he says seriously anymore. Attacks are said to continue despite a proposal from Russia to create safe escape routes out of Kiev, Mariupol, Sumy, and Kharkiv, which I apologize if I get them wrong. Again, exactly what I just said. The attacks are continuing, even though Russia has said they're going to give that safe passage of route. They're not doing it. They're saying that they are. They're not doing it. Ukraine branded the proposal immoral after it emerged many of the routes would only take civilians to Russia or its ally, Belarus. So I see what's going on here. They're trying to push the civvies into the countries, into the Russian and Belarus countries, right? Again, it's Putin being very manipulative and trying to sway people to go onto his side. But I've seen so many videos now online of like protests kicking off in Russia, civvies in Russia against the war getting like attacked by police, arrested. I saw a video today of Russian police going through people's phones to make sure that they're not doing anything against Russia. Crazy stuff happening over there right now. Tens of thousands of civilians remain trapped without power and with little access to food and water in a large city of Mariupol. This is the big thing that I've been worried about the most. It's the humanitarian aspect of it. We need to make sure these civvies are getting food and water. Just be very careful. If you're in the area, I know there is people from Ukraine that watch these videos and there's people in the surrounding areas. Just be very aware of this. Look at what's going on. Check these summaries. Check these maps. If you're in these areas, try to get out. I know it's next to impossible right now, but look after your family, look after your loved ones, and try and stay as safe as possible, guys, okay? Tens of thousands of civilians remain trapped with it. Yeah, we already just read that. 2 attempts to evacuate them at the weekend collapsed after planned ceasefire failed to materialize. So again, Russia are going back on the word. They're saying, yep, ceasefire, you can escape if you want. Only joking, we're going to bomb you anyway. What an absolute joke. About 2,000 people have been able to flee Irpin, northwest of the capital Kiev, despite continued Russian shelling. So luckily they are getting out, which is breaking my heart that they're struggling. But they are getting out, which is nice. And it says over here, 20,000 Indian students evacuated, which is nice to see as well. Surprised they managed to get that many out, but I'm glad they did. Oil prices have soared to a 13-year high due to the crisis. I get it. Here in the US, we're seeing dramatic oil prices, really kind of hurt, especially for someone like me who lives in a bus and the prices of diesel going up. At the same time, I think this is a kick in the ass to be more self-sustainable in this country. And I'm not talking about the self-sustainable that I've been talking about recently when it comes to your own property, but the country as a whole, not relying on outside sources. We're seeing this a lot with making all our stuff in China and stuff like that. It's only going to damage our economy even more. So the more we can do stuff inside our own country, the better. I personally think that renewable sources will be a better idea because wind power, turbines in water and solar power it'll never run out like oil will. So I think they should heavily invest in that. But at the same time, we need to protect our own people. And we need to protect the people who need to be safe as well. Unfortunately, these prices of gas and oil are unfortunately going high because we're close to a World War III, right? So it is what it is. Let's go over a few of these real quick. Zelensky to address UK House of Commons on Tuesday. It's Monday. Oh, by the way, as I'm reading this, it's 2:40 Monday the 7th. Central Time, just so you know. BBC launches TikTok accounts on war in Ukraine. I don't even know what to say about that. Trapped Indian students surviving on protein powder. Sheesh. Okay. Ukraine-Russia talks end with little progress. Surprise, surprise there. Any corridor is better than Russia's for people at Kiev station. So again, this is a very interesting tactic. Never say something like that, especially to Russia. No, it's better here or to European countries, but not to Russia. They don't want to go there. Russian proposed evacuation routes. Of course, look at that. What an absolute joke. What an absolute joke Russia's doing right now. They're forcing the people into their country. Manipulative assholes. Sorry. It pisses me off. I don't often go too angry, but that is basically manipulating humanitarian supplies and routes is just it's war crimes. It's literally war crimes. That's what it is. EU to consider admitting Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova. Do it. Van crashes into Russian embassy in Dublin. Sheesh. A small number of people have escaped. Nice. Shuffling to safety over precarious planks. Oh my god, look at that. We're going to end it there. You can kind of understand the situation, what's going on here. Russia are not only going against the word and taking over more places with killing civvies, but they're now forcing civvies into their territory, which is only going to get even worse, and which I personally think is a war crime, and they should pay for said war crime. Absolutely heartbreaking, guys. Absolutely heartbreaking. If this information helps, then it's done its job, and I appreciate you. If you're in Europe right now, if you're in Ukraine, stay safe. Make sure you have a plan B, no matter where you are right now. Plan Bs are important. My plan B is to drive off in the bus if anything happens. Luckily, I'm on the other side of the world. My family are not. Every single member of my family, apart from my immediate family right here, my wife and my children, are in the UK. So, European. So, they need to make sure they've got a plan B. I've been talking to them about this. And so does everyone else if you're living in Europe, guys. Members, you're beautiful. You're amazing. I love you. I couldn't do this without you. Honestly, couldn't make videos every single day if it wasn't for these members, these beautiful, beautiful members right here. So thank you for supporting the channel. It's genuinely appreciated. Links down below to all my socials if you want to get a hold of me. Instagram and Twitter is the best way to do so. What else? Merch down below. Other than that, just kiss your families at night. Spend some time with them. And appreciate the small things because the world's gone to shit in the past couple of years. So, appreciate the small things and try and stay safe, guys. Okay? I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.